I want to thank you guys for joining me for another episode of Real News Today. I am excited about my next guest. Cheryl and I actually came in contact with each other through a conference that we did recently, Discover Your Inner Healer with Dr. Angelica. So we're excited to really connect here. We had 39 speakers, I believe, who were on that platform. And sometimes you just don't get the opportunity to meet face to face or, to even chat because there's so many different speakers, there's so much content, and it's hard to be in all places at all times. So, before we get started into our interview and diving into the different topics that we both kind of share and are in common, want to give Cheryl the opportunity to introduce herself. So take it away, Cheryl.
Thank you so much, LaChelle, and it's such a pleasure to be on this call here, connecting with you. Yes, it was an amazing retreat, everybody. The Discover Your Inner Healer, 39 sheroes and heroes, all sharing and inspiring and offering healing and wisdom to those that tuned in. And it's such a pleasure, again, to be connecting here with you, LaChelle. So for all of you that don't know me, I'm Sheryl Puterman. I'm the founder and the CEO of Nourishment Vitality. We are a 360 health and wellness platform that specializes in stress relief management, anxiety, and nutritional psychology. And I'm very pleased to be able to, and blessed to be able to be in the position today where I help people overcome these challenges in their life, be it whether it's with stress or fatigue or a healthy weight management with nutritional psychology, through some of my own life adversities that brought me to this point in my life. My family and I are survivors of the 2004 Asian tsunami, and it was this life-changing event that actually led me on my studies on the science of stress and the healing power of breath, later on expanding into nutritional psychology and mind-body nutrition, which is that fascinating connection between brain and body and behavior. And at Nourishment Vitality, we have a wide range of online programs, services and coaching programs to help you overcome whatever it is that is keeping you stuck and from moving forward and optimizing your life, showing up as the best version of yourself through our programs, courses, and resources that we offer.
I love that. And I love the concept of nourishment vitality. So how is it that you were able to kind of take this unique spin on it? Because, a lot of people, I'm sure, are intrigued about the psychology behind it all. It's just you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, I'm a few pounds overweight. I just need to do something about this. So it's unique to take the approach from the psychological aspect. So, how did you get to be on that type of focus?
Well, I got to be on that type of trajectory again through some of my own struggles. But the why nourishment vitality? Because nourishment at the end of the day, LaChelle, is more than what we eat. Nourishment is what feeds us on an emotional, on a physical, and on a spiritual level. It's all of these things. Now, as far as weight management, just being weight management, calories in, calories out, eat this, don't eat that. There is so much out there of nutritional chaos and confusion. And if a lot of those strategies and diets would have worked, well, they would have worked by now, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. But at Nourishment Vitality, we take the angle that nourishment is not only what you eat, but it is who you are as an eater. Who you are as an eater, body, mind, heart, and soul. And we take all of these areas and help people to actually heal, take that deeper dive and heal their relationship with food, with body, and ultimately with ourselves. And this has very many angles as far as looking in the mirror and liking or not liking what it is that you see. I help many people, all the way from teens to adults, My eldest client is in their 80s, because this is really a journey with body image issues. Because at the end of the day, what I always tell my clients is that in order to have the body that you have to want the body that you have. So you start where you're at, where you're at. And I teach a kind mindfulness where you actually lean in with conscious curiosity and, very important, compassion for where you're at. And that's your starting point. From there, you get to love yourself, embrace the change that you wish to become in a loving, compassionate, and integral way, versus shaming yourself or beating yourself in, so to speak, judging yourself into transformation, following your very restrictive ways of having to eat this way, do that way, push extra hard. I say, take a pause and let's find out a system, a way that actually works for you.
I love that. And, so many people kind of get that wrong. So, just like you said, we judge, shame, all these different things. So, we have a lot of people during quarantine who have added a few extra pounds because, they're in the house and, there's really not too much going on. Some people just have a lot of nervous energy or whatever the case may be. Everybody's story is different, but there's jokes around the weight gain that is connected to this pandemic. So, what are we really doing wrong, kind of initially, that leads to us being on this pathway that we have to kind of unlearn?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it's kind of being on a pathway where we self-sabotage ourselves. And what we've seen through the pandemic, what I've seen a lot, what statistics are actually saying, is that people are being triggered or re-triggered into unhealthy habits and behaviors. Yes, because we are at home more right now, because we are trying to find a balance with our work-life balance, because we are surrounded by family more and trying to work and juggle 100 things all together at once. And so often we turn to the fridge, to food for comfort, because it's there. But there's more going on than actually just turning to food for comfort, because we're turning to food for another reason. And that's where, again, the curiosity really comes into it. What are you really craving? What are you really hungry for? Because if you have just eaten a fairly large dinner, half an hour later, you're back at the fridge. Is it physical hunger or is it an emotional hunger? So I like to say, create a checklist for yourself. What's going on with me? What is it that I'm really hungry for? Am I actually hungry? Did I not eat enough earlier on during the day? Is it a micronutrients deficit that I'm actually in right now? Am I angry? Am I anxious? Am I anxious? So many people turn to food for comfort for stress eating, because it actually does, in the moment, satisfy a need. Biologically, it fills the brain, the body, with feel-good hormones. It satisfies a need. It's the overdoing that actually afterwards leads to the shame, the guilt, and so the cycle repeats itself. Am I anxious? Am I lonely? Am I tired? Have I slept enough? And these are kind of reasons that you can just start to acknowledge. Now, whether it is that you're actually hungry or whether it is that you're really actually stressed out, you know this as somebody who deals a lot with stress as well. One of the ways that we can actually help ourselves through any kind of stressful situation, I always say, is to validate our feelings, validate our emotions. That's where it starts. It starts with self-awareness. So many times, whether we stress eating, we checked out, we're numb to our feelings. We've polished off one plate onto the next. We haven't even realized we finished the first bowl and we're on to the next. And there are many scientific tweaks and ways to help people through that. But it starts with self-awareness. So being curious, what's really going on with me? What is it that I'm really hungry for? And secondly, if you are stressed, acknowledge the stress, acknowledge the way that you're feeling right now. How does stress feel in your body right now? Where am I feeling the most panicked or shut down? Is it in my chest area? Is it in my stomach area? Just bring your attention to that, even if it's momentarily. Notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Notice it. Don't suppress it. Rather acknowledge it, name it, validate it. Because when you validate your own emotions and you show up for yourself in that more supportive, loving, compassionate kind of a way, whatever it is that's stressing us out, that's holding us, that's gripping onto us, it starts to loosen its grip. It starts to kind of soften its voice within our very own system. And during this time of the pandemic, for most people that have had unhealthy habits or behaviors, then they re-trigger to it. It's because our stress is really heightened right now and our nervous systems are working on an overdrive. So this is when it becomes super important to take these small little tips and actually implement them in our own way, just with this conscious compassion, kindness coming in, so that we can self-soothe our own nervous system, so that we can tap in, tune in to that enteric nervous system, which is the brain in our belly, which is our gut, and actually work from there, self-soothe ourselves. So it starts with validation. And one, if you've got lots of kids, right? I read that. Well, I mean, well, take my hat off to you. That's just incredible. You really are a superwoman,
Oh,
really
thank
super mom. But then having as many kids,
Mm-hmm.
when a baby or a toddler or a young child is crying, and they're not quite even sure why they're crying, they're tantruming, what helps them? When we hold them, we don't try to change the behavior. We just simply hold them. We validate the way that they're feeling. And that way, they're actually able to instantly calm themselves down, because we all want to be seen, to be heard, to be validated. And in asking yourself these powerful questions in the moment when you're actually experiencing the stress, you get to show up for yourself in that loving, compassionate, and wonderful way, kind of self-parent you. And it's extremely, extremely helpful. It also gives, when the nervous system starts to slow down and you start to actually slow down, you give the body a chance to actually recover and heal from any symptoms of stress. So to heal from that feeling of panic, that feeling of constriction, you give the body that chance to actually heal in a way that makes it easier on yourself, on your own system, before those symptoms become too loud and it's like you're in the pain, you're in the angst of it all.
I mean, those are some great points. And I think, what are we really getting wrong when it comes to food? I know here in the United States, one of the things that comes to mind for me is like portion sizes. If you go to a fast food restaurant and you're looking at the number of calories that are in a value meal, you know what I'm saying? It's like that's enough for two or three people. So when it comes to the eating, what do you think are like some of the top things that we're not getting right?
Absolutely, great question. As far as when it comes to one's eating challenges, and one of the greatest tips that I believe I can offer those that are tuning in and listening is balance and moderation. The dose makes the poison. So it comes down to the actual amount, balance and moderation. Now, how do you explain what is balance and what is moderation? In a park, you know what the seesaw is, where you have one kid on the one side and the other on the other side. And let's use this analogy. On the one side, you've got restrictions, strict rules, got to do it this way, got to follow the plan of X amount of calories for the day, got to starve myself into submission. And on the other side, you've got overindulgence, can't get enough, got to have more of it, got to eat past that point of fullness. So what's actually going to help? Both parties on either side of the seesaw have to lift up their legs together and reach that middle line, that balance and moderation. My question is, what's your middle line? What's your middle line? Get to know that for you. Get to know that for you. And again, everything, no matter what it is, whether it's in stress relief management, whether it's in our weight management, whatever it is that's holding us back, it starts with self-awareness. That's where you begin. Become aware of what it is that you're experiencing. So ask yourself this very important question. What's my middle line? When you're eating, eat when you're eating. What do I mean when I say that? I mean, be present when you're eating. Tune in when you're eating. How many of us are multitasking, watching television when we're eating on the run, eating in the car, doing 102 different things whilst we're eating, standing up and eating? We don't bring all of us to the table when we're eating. So I say, if you're going to eat a big meal and you're going to allow yourself a dessert, give yourself permission to do that, but eat it with all of you. Slow down a bit, taste the food, enjoy the food, so that your brain, it's a cephalic phase digestive response, CPDR, which is a fancy way for saying that your brain actually switches on taste, pleasure, aroma, satisfaction, tick, 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 can actually understand, hey, I'm actually eating now. Food's gone into my system. It is better for your digestion, your assimilation, your calorie burning, and you're going to get more optimum nutrients out of the food that you're actually eating if you are present, if you slow down with your food, if you actually, all of you is in it. And no matter what you're doing in life, whether it's food or anything else, bring all of yourself to the table and notice who it is that's actually showing up. There's so much with people. I help a lot of people that overeat, binge eat, emotionally eat, even undereat. And so much pain is rooted in our food lineage, in our actual history of our actual food story. So again, everything starts with an actual self-awareness. And there is no one size fits all technique for everybody, because everybody is different. That means our solutions need to be different too.
Love
And
that.
that's when coaching really comes into it, because in coaching or guidance, it's not just a one size fits all solution. It's what's right for you, your metabolism, the way you showing up in the world. And our personal power and our metabolic power are very much equated with each other. Personal power equals metabolic power in many, many ways. As our metabolism, our metabolism is always become stronger in ourselves, so do we become stronger as people, the way we show up in our world. And it becomes interesting to bring our attention to our emotional metabolism, If I had to say, well, where are you at on a scale of 1 to 10 today with your emotions? You may say, I'm at a 2. And tomorrow you may say, I'm at an 8. I'm doing really great today. And the next day you may say, I'm at a 4. And next week you may be somewhere else. Our emotions at the moment are all up and down and all over the show. It certainly makes sense considering what's been going on in the world. We're stressed out. Our human bodies are under stress. This is affecting our digestion, assimilation, calorie burning, our metabolic efficiency. Our metabolism partially shuts down being in a stress response all of the time. So just bringing that awareness into your emotional metabolism, your emotions, it can actually help you with your eating challenges as well.
That's amazing. And I think that is such a good point. I think so many people want to look outside of themselves, for solutions. And, I got to take this or do this or have this, and that's going to make me feel better. But it's the inner work, really, that makes all the difference. I was able to find that in my own struggle with dealing with depression for 13 years. It was like this experience of being on autopilot and thinking, if I change or modify this, but it's to me, I say it's putting a band-aid on an open wound. You have to do the inner work to make the difference. So, we still are in challenging times, and you have overcome a tsunami. I mean, that to me is like, what? That's just, I don't know where I would be if that happened to me. So, what is it that you practice now after experiencing such a major um, challenge that helps you to stay grounded, to do what it is that you do every day?
Well, interestingly enough, through the pandemic, one of the areas that so many people are challenged with right now is our relationship to uncertainty. Being a survivor of such a traumatic, sudden disaster, more of a violent, sudden event, though, what I learned, my biggest life's lesson from that moment in my life was you just never know what the next moment is going to bring. Now, coming out of such a life-changing experience and such a trauma, it does leave certain issues, scars that need dealing with. And I can say for sure that for years and years, and even still today, although I am so much better at it, my relationship to uncertainty was extremely challenged because I faced my most dangerous moment on a holiday. One moment I was in paradise, and the next I was in this chaos, this pain, this destruction all around me. And so I really internalized that life's lesson that we just never know what the next moment is going to bring. And as a mom, as a parent, years later, it affected areas in my life. I always needed to know. I needed that assurance. And so now, even through the pandemic, it's because I have worked through so much in my own life with this, and time again, because life's never really certain. It's never really certain. We don't know when the next curveball or what's going to really happen. However, my relationship with uncertainty became very strengthened. And this is how. If I can offer any nugget of wisdom, this is how, what I internalized and what I bring forth to the world from this is that faith is the foundation of life. When our faith is shaken, our entire world is shaken. So really learning to keep that faith strong within yourself can really help you to navigate your way through anything in life, through uncertainty in life. I know for myself, and through what life has shown me over my life, is that there's tremendous value in our struggles if we choose to take that value, if we choose to take those lessons and those gifts. And I know for me that I have developed such a strong grounding and faith in who I am as a human being, in my own spirit, that one thing I know is no matter how tough it gets, I show up. I show up. Do I get it 100% right? No. Do I fall down 100 times? Yes. But I've developed this strong faith in who I am. And I operate from that part of me, that untouched, perfectly unscathed presence deep within the center of who I really am. And sometimes I forget, and I need to remind myself to come back to that point. But when your faith is strong, you can get through what you're going through with more ease and with more flow.
I love that. And that is so key because you're able to kind of remove some of the uncertainty by knowing what you can control and can't control. I mean, I know for me, when this pandemic first began, it's like, well, welcome to my world. Okay. Because as a mother with so many children, every day is not the same. It doesn't matter how much you plan or orchestrate things. there's always some element of what you can't control. I thought it was so funny how this was really my first year that I used to joke about being an empty nester by day because all my kids were in school during school hours. And then boom, in March, everybody's back at home, right? So it's one of those situations that once you kind of realize what you can and can't control, the element that you can, it's gives you such I guess empowerment to know that the things you can control, you can show up for and control that to be the best version of yourself.
Well, it's happening anyway. So willingness comes into play a little bit. Willingness is kind of a sacred concept as well. Your willingness, instead of resisting what's actually happening is to actually just be willing to go through the actual whatever it is where whatever life is throwing at you at any given point in time. Your willingness to just show up, work from that certain place within yourself that you got this. You don't have to have it all figured out, but you got this, that you can go through whatever it is, and that you're going to get a handle on it. Nothing has to happen in this red hot minute. You can go through this and you will figure it out along the way. That you come in with a really strong willingness to just go through it and figure it out, and that you show up. And that in itself is huge. It's a huge step in the right direction. Anytime, like you just mentioned, LaChelle, it's kind of empowering, because anytime you empower yourself with choice, you become more empowered. So when you choose to show up, when you choose to surrender is not giving up, but it's just being willing to go through whatever it is. When you come in with a little bit more of a choice aspect in it, it's a much more empowering way to go through that. And as human beings, the concept of uncertainty is not new. It's something we as human beings have navigated for a long time. But because of the situation worldwide right now, our relationship with it is very challenged. But if you think about it, no big business, no big great idea would have ever happened without the uncertainty and the risk that it might fail. So uncertainty is not a new concept for us as human beings. And I always think of it this way as well, that marketing strategists know it well, that when you market a product and you say money back guarantee, we like it as human beings. Why? We don't want to be caught in an outcome or a situation that we don't like. We want to be able to control what it is that we can control. Life does not work that way. It does not work that way. And the more you get to just choose to figure things out when they actually happen, the kind of easier it gets in that way, because it's uncertainty is not a new concept, but it's not an easy concept
So
either.
true. So true. Now, so what are some books that you could recommend for people to kind of, begin that journey of dealing with the psychology of it all behind some of the issues that we may be struggling with?
You know, today online, firstly, your book, by the way, that I'm looking at behind me, that I'm so excited to receive. I won this, everybody. I won this in a raffle challenge, and it's on its way to me. And I'm super excited to get some pearls of wisdom from that. And with so much online today, people don't actually read, but some of the old favorites, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, and some of the old favorites. I've been studying metaphysical science ever since I'm 15 years old. All of the books that I've ever read are more on psychology, and I always say go back to basics. Seriously, like Louise Hay, back to basics. Those nuggets of wisdom, the legend that she left us with, that she's passed on to us all.
Mhm.
The, that's all one really needs.
Mhm.
That's all one really needs. And you know, again, tune in with what's right for you, because there's so much out there. So ask yourself, does this resonate with me or does it not resonate with me? And only go for the things that resonate with you, because there is a lot of additional stress that we add to ourselves with books that we not sure what to get, so we get 25 of them. And so again, it comes back to the concept of balance and moderation, and one book at a time, one nugget of wisdom at a time, one piece at a time, one piece of a puzzle at a time, so that you get to internalize information in a way that feels good for your system.
So true. Yeah, I think that is just a great point to mention, because many people, and, we all go through this pattern of, let me get this, let me get that, as if there is a formula, that someone else's formula is going to work for us without really giving ourselves the time to reflect, am I a visual learner? Is it better for me to have audio? Some of these things we just don't have the bandwidth or take the time to figure out what is it that makes us tick, so to speak, as an individual. So
And
what is uh-huh.
that's so true, even in online courses, etc. As a writer myself, I always take into consideration people's learning styles, because some people do prefer audio. I've become somebody now that actually prefers audio. I listen in, I tune in. Podcasts are an amazing way of absorbing nuggets of wisdom today.
Mhm,
And other people just like to read. They don't like to look at a video. They don't like to go through the modules in a course. They just want the transcript. They just want to read through.
mhm.
So figure out what works best for you, and then, as again, take one step at a time. There's a huge amount of talent and wonderful wisdom out there. Tune in what's right for you. You'll be led to the right place and the right people.
So true. I totally agree. So what is the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
The audience can always just go to my website, which is www.nourishmentvitality.com, nourishmentvitality.com, or on Facebook, Sheryl Puterman. You can send me a message, or on LinkedIn, Sheryl Puterman. You can send me a message, and do check out my website, guys. I've got tons of information and resources on there for you that are downloadable, ready for you to implement, so that you can get started on your journey of optimizing your life and living your life to your best potential.
Love that. Yeah. So we just really want to thank you for your nuggets of wisdom. Thank you for, giving us the opportunity to take a few moments to do a little reflection. This is something that I don't take lightly, dealing with my own past. I'd never had that time to really reflect. I was always on autopilot.
Mm.
So I love the space that we have here now with this pandemic where we can take some time to reflect and decide how we're going to move forward, because I feel that sometimes we just don't make decisions. We just put things off or, expect circumstances to make the decision for us. So you have given us quite a wealth of information. And I hope everybody was taking notes. I am going to go back and take my notes because, there's something to really writing down and finding ways that you can implement new ideas and concepts in order for you to grow and evolve and be a better version of yourself. So, we just want to thank you for sharing with us today, Cheryl. And are there any final words that you would like to share with the audience?
Well, firstly, thank you, LaChelle. It's been an absolute pleasure being on the call with you. Any final words to share with the audience? This is a time where people need people. And one of the greatest antidotes to lift oneself up is to serve somebody else. So when you give from the heart, truly you get for the heart. So go out there today, be kind to somebody. Don't underestimate the power of kindness, whether it's in smiling at somebody, whether it's in offering a kind word or some kind of assistance. Could even be picking up a phone call to somebody that you know may be needing to hear a voice today. So be kind to other people, and most importantly as well, be kind to yourselves.
Awesome. Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining us, and I encourage you to reach out to Cheryl. She has mentioned her website and her ability to be contacted on Facebook and LinkedIn. You know, it's really important if her message has resonated with you to reach out. I struggled for years being a high achiever, thinking that I didn't need help, afraid to ask questions on how I can make sense of things as life was throwing me curveballs, so to speak. So I challenge you to reach out to her to figure out how you can make sense of what may be going on in your life and to continue to evolve to be a better version of you. So we want to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the comments section and we will respond and get back to you. Have a wonderful day and thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye for
Thank you,
now.
LaChelle. Thank you. Bye, everyone.